one big difference that I noticed that was different from the real estate world to when I started getting involved in the sales world, right? And let me show you what I mean. So in the real estate world, the focus is all about the prospect, right? Everything is about the prospect. So everything you're doing, all of your focus, all of your attention, everything is about helping them. You know, whether that's helping them find their dream home, helping them sell their home, you know, whatever question they have, that's your focus, right? So that really is a feel-good career because, you know, you're helping people. So, but what I noticed in the sales industry, and this is an industry as a whole, okay? So it's not, obviously not every organization, but what I noticed, you know, I hate to say a lot of times, but it is a lot of times, right? What's the focus in the sales industry, right? A lot of the time, that's the focus, right? Getting a paycheck, right? So, you know, even when I first started in the sales industry, you know, it was tough, you know, in some ways, not to look at it as you're just selling, you know, your goal is to sell a product for a company to a customer, right? That is your job, you know, in essence. But what I notice is a lot of times people focus so much on the paycheck, right? They're just there for the paycheck, right? So everything that they're focused on for the whole appointment is just the dollar signs, right? So at the end of the day, if that's your focus, it's not a feel-good career, right? Because it's very self-centered, really, you know? So, and there's a lot of different variables with that, right? So, you know, there's sometimes, you know, there's people out there that are just straight out manipulative, and they'll just tell you anything just to get this, right? And then there's some people that'll toe that line and think, well, the customer does need it, you know, maybe this is a gray area, but I'm going to focus on this, so they, you know, so they buy, right? But the biggest thing here, and yeah, obviously the prospect makes a big difference, but for the sales professional, that's where it makes all the difference, right? Because how this makes you feel about yourself at the end of the day, you feel good. You come home, you see your family, you're proud to tell people what you do, you're helping people for a living. With sales has such a negative, you know, reputation out there in some regards, right? Because there's so many people that get motivated by that, right? So now that affects everybody that's a sales professional, even if that's not your primary motivation, right? So one thing, you know, I just want to challenge people out there that maybe that is their focus right now, and it kind of can be normal in a way because you're kind of trained. There's so much training revolving around that concept that you're just there for the paycheck and that's your job and all these things. But what sales professionals, you know, are not totally realizing, if that is their focus, or maybe some people just don't care, but this video is probably not for you if that's you. But if that's your primary focus, it's going to affect you, right? It's going to affect how you feel about yourself. So when you come home at night and you see your family, you know, you kiss your kids and you look in the mirror, how do you feel about the person that you are, right? So somebody that has some kind of moral values, they're gonna feel obviously not good about themselves, not good about what they're doing. So that's gonna affect really your life, right? It's gonna affect, like, one thing, are you proud of what you do? Like, so when people ask you what you do, you're like, I do this, right? You're probably, if you don't feel good about it, that's just not a good career, right? Because it affects so many things. So how you feel inside you is going to come out, right? So if you're feeling negative thoughts about yourself, even if it's subconsciously, you know, because you just get so into the routine, just doing your job every day, but it's in there. You know if you're skating that line or not. You know deep in your soul, you know what you're doing. So when you start feeling that way, it's going to affect your family, you know, your children, pretty much it's going to come out, right? So I challenge you, let's go back to this one. If you just change your whole focus on the appointment to be on the prospect and helping them, that's your focus. I mean, it's going to kind of be like, sorry, it's still messy, but it's going to kind of be like how it kind of is in real estate, right? So, and I'm not even saying every real estate agent like that. I'm sure there's some real estate agents that the dollar sign could be over here too. But, just my experience, most of the time, people are trying to help you, right? But if you just change your focus in sales to just the prospects first, just make what they want come true, the paychecks are going to come. The paychecks are going to come on both ends, right? But that's what I would say. So at the end of the day, just view it as helping people, because it's only hurting you by not viewing it that way.